Welcome everyone. I'm here to share the history and foundations of the EdChanger app. Our mission at EdChanger is to scale and sustain instructional systems. This mission was born from my 20 plus years of experience as a coach, teacher, instructional coach, conflict resolution specialist, and systems coach in our schools. Roles that continue to keep me in the classroom teaching lessons to this day. This perspective has made me realize two things. First, it has reinforced that schools are too diverse for any single solution. We need a system. Second, I've had the privilege of being in incredible classrooms with incredible educators who are making a difference every day for their students and communities. To truly support these teachers, we must move beyond quick fixes, chasing shiny objects, and initiative fatigue, and do the real work of building and maintaining systems over time. At EdChanger, our motto is systems equals hope because a coherent system always provides a logical next step in any situation. And that starts with instructional practice. Fueled by 20 years of experience, an accumulation of love, frustration, and hope, and a great deal of research, we've created a simple, coherent system of practices and high-quality resources available to all educators. Consultants, conferences, and coaching can be helpful, but they're often only available to a select few. Our goal is to support all teachers in a sustainable way. Every teacher deserves the support of a system or a next logical step to better serve the communities they care so deeply about. To illustrate why instructional practices are so critical, I'm going to share a personal story, an analogy to education. I have two kids, a 12-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son. When my daughter was born, a friend of mine told me about the idea of a push present, which is a gift given to an expecting mother in the hospital to acknowledge the hard work of childbirth. I had never heard of this, but I went with something sentimental for my wife, a locket with a picture of the ultrasound inside. When my son was born, 2.5 years later, I wanted to do something different. Instead of another sentimental gift, I bought a high-quality camera to document our young family as it grew. A couple weeks later, my wife came to me and said, okay, now it's time to get newborn pictures scheduled. And I asked, how much is that going to cost? When she shared that it would be $600 or $700, I thought, I just spent all this money on this camera. I have the exact same equipment as the photographer, and I took photo in high school. I'm going to save my family $600. But just like instruction, taking high quality photos requires more than just having the right tools. It takes practice, lighting, the safety and comfort of the object, patience and timing, framing, editing, props. All these practices play a critical role. Professional photographers improve through constant practice, reflection, feedback, and more practice. I didn't have the experience to take pictures like this one, the one that the professional took after I failed. When I attempted newborn photos, the results were disappointing. When I share this story with educators and I show them the professionals' pictures versus my pictures and ask them, how does my son feel in this picture? I always hear the same words, uncomfortable, frustrated, and annoyed. The analogy to education is clear. I unintentionally created those feelings with my lack of practice as a photographer. And unfortunately, many students feel the same way in a classroom due to instructional practices. And I want to be really clear. This is by no means a criticism of teachers. Educators are some of the most incredible people on the planet. The real issue is the systemic injustice that leaves teachers who care so deeply about their students without the opportunity to practice and improve their instructional approach, just like I lacked practice as a photographer. At EdChanger, our mission is to change that by building this system of practices. Through analyzing instructional frameworks, research and evidence, and some help from AI, we at EdChanger have landed on this to be a structured system for instruction based on our guiding philosophy that systems equals hope. We want to provide a logical next step for any situation. For example, if a teacher has strong routines and expectations but lacks positive feedback, their classroom might be orderly but feel cold. That's not an optimal learning environment. On the other hand, if a teacher is highly positive but there's no routines or expectations, it could be fun but also chaotic. Again, not optimal. All of these elements work together to create a well-functioning classroom. And when something feels off, a logical next step is always available. If the classroom feels cold, increase positive interactions. If it feels chaotic, reteach expectations or install a routine. Dull, increase opportunities to respond. Contentious, build community and relationships. Yet most teachers have never been taught a simple and coherent instructional system like this. To take a deeper look into the why, the first is that logical next step when things go wrong. Second is level setting. There's so much variability in instruction in our schools, and that can be good when it allows teachers to show their creativity and personality in their instruction, but it's also important that all students have high quality instruction. Third, this provides a simple system for intervention. I can just amplify these base practices to provide students more support. So for example, if a student is struggling to engage, I may just amplify their opportunities to respond from 3 to 6 per minute. I'll add that as AI becomes more prevalent in schools, we're going to need this system more. AI can create great lesson plans, but I still need to execute that plan. AI can't make the decision if a student in front of me is struggling to provide them an opportunity to respond to engage them or provide them corrective feedback. I have to make that decision. And also, as we move towards more inclusionary models, the stability of a strong system is needed in our classrooms to include more diverse learners. And for co-teaching conversations, knowledge of a simple system will create more rich and targeted discourse. So my optimistic closure is that we've created this system of practices at EdChanger to create real and sustainable hope in education. But it's also important to note that hope is not a strategy. I often think that word hope is overused in education. As a teacher, I never went to school and simply hoped my students would be good or hoped they would learn. Those things happened when I had a system and a plan. After this webinar, your next logical step might be to go to edchanger.com and view our approach video. It may be subscribing to our app, collecting data on community and relationships, and taking a look at our resources, or just diving into the EdChanger hub and choosing what the next logical step is for you. But again, you can always go to edchanger.com and subscribe, or go on the App Store and look for this icon. At EdChanger, again, our mission is to scale and sustain instructional systems. Every teacher should have access to high-quality professional learning and high-quality coaching in a way that empowers them as the experts in their classroom. It's time to move beyond quick fixes and invest in the real work of building systems. At EdChanger, we're inspired by the incredible educators out there. Our system feels like crisis at times, but it's only repairable because of you. We hope this system helps you serve the students the way you deserve with the instruction they deserve. Thank you so much for everything you do, and thank you so much for your time. Let's build something together.